And welcome back to Trusted Transitions. This is Mike Schuch, your trusted host, and back in the studio with us, we have Melinda Stuart, the local owner of Smart Moves, Wisconsin's premier moving, organizing, and downsizing experts. Hello, Melinda.
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, we had a little hiatus there for a couple weeks, and now we're on our new time here, Saturday at 3:00. So we hope our friends and listeners were able to find us here today. And so we thought we would kind of go back to the basics a little bit today, since we're in a new time period now with the show. And we thought we'd talk about something, everybody dreads, but almost everybody eventually really has to do, and that is move, right? The whole moving experience.
Right.
So,
In
right.
fact,
So whether you're really heading across town or across the state, right, we find that moving can be stressful. And this time of the year, it's hot. So we thought we'd break it down and talk with Melinda about what a move manager actually does, and then how to move safely and smartly when the temperature starts to climb. So Melinda, the basics. A move manager, really more like a project manager, right?
right. Yeah. Sometimes people think we're a moving company, but really it is more about the project management, pulling all the details together. We start with a basic game plan that puts the timeline together, really helps people know what to do from now until move days here. We spend a lot of time working with our moving partners. We vet them. We test them out. We do trainings with them. So we're really familiar with how they work, and they understand our core values and the importance of bringing compassion to the process. And then all those logistics, sometimes things you're not even thinking about. Is the moving truck going to need special parking arrangements? Are we going to need to reserve an elevator? Sometimes there's details that are more complicated these days of arranging donation pickup. And we're there to handle all those pieces. And then our normal package includes putting together that floor plan, room by room plan. So on move day, everyone knows which room the boxes go in and where the furniture needs to go. And then, of course, our amazing team of specialists are there to do all that physical part of packing those boxes, getting them moved, and then setting up your new space. So we love to do it.
Right. And you guys do out-of-state moves too, right?
Yes, for sure. We're part of a network of move managers across the country and across the world. So we've got friends everywhere who do the same kind of work in other locations, and we can take care of the Wisconsin part, the Southeast Wisconsin area, and then match you with the move manager on that end to make the whole process seamless.
Let's talk about the timeline next. Something that surprises a lot of people that if you move on your own, the packing, planning, hauling, unpacking, that whole process can realistically take like 1 to 5 weeks, we see typically, especially if you're doing it around a full-time job. Or if there's a lot of downsizing, in decision making that's involved. And if you compare that to working with someone like you, professional move management company, most full service moves like this are completed in like 1 or 2 days, right?
Exactly. Yep. Most of our moves are 2-day moves, unless they're studio or 1-bedroom. We can do those in 1 day. And so it really is a nice way to minimize the disruption to your life. We can get it done efficiently, quickly, and it's turnkey. So when you get there, the new space is ready to live in and really enjoy.
Right. That's really the difference between a stressful month and a stressful day or two, maybe, right? And especially I think about the weather we've been having lately, these 90+ degree days outside. I mean, fewer days spent moving boxes in the heat is not a small perk, right? That's bonus.
Exactly.
Right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about moving in the heat. Summer is peak moving season, as we all know, but it's also can be the most physically demanding. So maybe take us through some practical talking points and things we should think about with summer moving.
Yeah, I would say a big thing is just to be really planning ahead. Sometimes in a less peak season, you can call us a week before and we can get that move scheduled. Of course, we always say sooner is better, but in summer, you almost have to be thinking at least a month ahead to make sure you can get the dates you're looking at and have your move manager team as well as the movers available to be able to get your project done. Another thing is, it is hot. We've had some air quality issues here recently. That's the movers are working hard no matter what time of the year it is, but with that extra heat, just keep in mind, they're going to appreciate some extra water breaks, some electrolytes, making sure they're staying safe, and just be aware of that. Sometimes people are kind of watching the process and the clock and don't want any breaks, but it's really critical to make sure we're taking care of ourselves during the move by staying hydrated and safe, and then making sure those movers are doing the same thing. And then another point is just to really think about what's actually going on the moving truck. Most moving companies, if you call them, give you a whole list of things that can't go on the truck. In our case, we've been able to make some exceptions to that because they know how we pack things and handle things. And so things that sometimes can't go on the truck, we can usually put on the truck. But with the heat, there are some things to really be thinking about. Electronic,
Okay.
the inside of a moving truck when it's sitting in the sun can get well over 130 degrees. So we don't want those electronics on there that might really goof up the system. Anything that can melt, even think about records are back in style, LP records. So that's not a good thing to put on the truck. Candles, and then food. Our team always brings coolers to move your food. And even on a regular move, we tend to move that in our smart move vehicles versus putting it on the truck because we want to make sure it's the first thing unloaded. But especially if you're doing it yourself, think about making that a priority and making sure it doesn't go on the truck. And even your medications, the medication's really sensitive to heat. So it's just a little different way of thinking about things that doesn't apply necessarily when it's cooler out.
Well, you remind me when you talk about, you mentioned the vinyl albums. I just had a flashback to the 80s. I remember I was going to a Brewer game as a young man. I don't know, I was probably maybe 15, 16, and a friend of mine gave me a gift. It was an album. It was Cheap Trick, live in Budokan. I still remember this, and I put it in the back window of the car when we went into the Brewer game. We came out, and it looked like a roller coaster with the the waves up and down on the vinyl. I think I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to hear that album when I got home. So yes, I can visualize how heat can certainly damage items. And yeah, I don't know what made me think of that, but I did go back to the record store in Menominee Falls at the time. I think it was Total Eclipse Records, and I think my parents treated me to another version of that same album. So there is a good ending to that story. But the rule of thumb is, yes, we some of this stuff should not go on the truck, right? We really got to think through this.
Yeah.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And even thinking about yourself, we always at Smart Moves recommend that people pack kind of an essentials bag during move day with your important paperwork, any valuables you want to keep with you, your cell phone, a charger, things like that. But in these hot times, we want to also be thinking about an extra water bottle, maybe even an extra outfit to change into if you get really warm or sweaty if you have something to change.
Mm-hmm.
Just really thinking about those things that are going to keep us comfortable and relaxed on these super hot days. And then, with that too, think about getting to the new place ahead of time and maybe turning on the air conditioning once that furniture starts moving in and out. It gets real hot in there. So
Right.
the more we can kind of pre-cool off the area, that's going to help your whole moving crew that day.
And you know what? Those little battery powered fans, I
Oh,
was using one the other day. One of my grandkids had one. They really work well. I thought they were just for show, but boy, they really do cool you off. It's surprising. So I'm now advocating for battery powered fans.
yeah, we like those, and we like those cooling towels too that we can just kind of get them wet and they put them around your neck. Really cools you down.
Right. So to kind of wrap it up and summarize, a move manager isn't really just a luxury. They're the person that's turning weeks of chaos into a couple of well organized days. Melinda, it was awesome to have you on again, and we look forward to having you on again on our next episode.
Awesome. Stay cool out there.
We'll be back with more trusted transitions in just a minute. Stay tuned.